This is Hannibal here from the HannibalTV.com with a daily wrestling news update. Dynamite this week featured CM Punk's AEW debut, and it did a 0.48 rating. That is up from the 0.35 rating Dynamite did last week, but down from the 0.53 rating that his debut on Rampage did. By the way, there were some idiot fans on here that said, Hannibal, you have no business commenting on wrestling. You don't know anything about wrestling because you said SmackDown had over 1 million viewers more on Friday than Rampage, but Rampage did a 0.53 rating and SmackDown did a 0.57 rating. Well, that is the demographic for the 18 to 49 age category. The actual viewership of SmackDown on Friday was 2.102 million compared to Rampage drawing 1.12. So yes, SmackDown did have about 1 million more viewers than Rampage, 2.102 compared to SmackDown's 1.12. Sorry, Rampage did a 1.12. SmackDown did a 2.012 million viewers. For the ratings demographic, it was 0.57 to 0.53, so that was closer. But in viewership, it was a lot more. And for the people that say I have no business commentating on wrestling, I've been in the business since 2001 as a wrestler, promoter, videographer, video editor. I've done it all in the business, set up, tear down rings, been a referee, followed the news all my life. So I think I know a thing or two about wrestling. I've promoted over 200 events in my life. And I've been a full-time wrestler before in both the UK and Puerto Rico. And I am a full-time reporter for the past, since the lockdown began. That's my job. In other AEW news, AEW canceled Gangrel's appearance from Dynamite this week. He said on his Fanging and Banging podcast that they had planned to do a special Gangrel appearance on AEW. However, with Edge doing the Brood thing on SummerSlam and there being a black blood bath on SmackDown last week, they didn't want to seem like they were copying WWE. They didn't plan that out in advance, knowing that WWE was going to bring Edge back with the Brood gimmick last weekend. So sorry that he lost that payday. Gangrel also said that Edge told him the reason the bloodbath was black that Seth Rollins did was because WWE wouldn't allow the red blood because they're a PG company. And I have to bring this up because I don't find Lacey Von Erich to be an honest person at all when she says she never fired people or had people fired from that Texas company she's involved with, which is a very shady company. It has become a very shady company. Gangrel is one of the people that she had booted from that company, and you guys can ask Gangrel about that. And she told me herself that she had Gangrel booted, just like she told me herself about the thing that happened with her and Mark Henry backstage. So, yeah, she is not trustworthy in my opinion. Patrick says, ignore the haters. Well, it's a slow news day, so I didn't mind bringing up the haters to further explain that, yes, SmackDown did do 100 more viewers, and not everyone understands the rating. Sorry, 1 million more viewers. I just woke up. It's 2:49 a.m. I was up more than 24 hours, so I went to bed at a weird time last night because I've been really busy planning this this Great North Wrestling double shot event at 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Saturday in Kingston. So I'm going to be up for the day now. I'm going to go to the gym in about an hour here. And big event this weekend. Renee Dupree, the Blood Hunter, defending the Texas and Great North Wrestling titles. Jeremy Prophet, Mike Bailey. There will be a new Great North Wrestling Women's Champion crowned. And Alicia Atut will be one of the hosts. And it's going to be broadcast by Pro Wrestling Noah as well as the Hannibal TV. And we are going to try to live stream both events. I'm not going to promote it too heavily because I don't know if the Wi-Fi connection in the arena is going to be good enough, but I certainly have hired a live stream crew to attempt to live stream both events on this channel. So it's a pretty safe bet that if the 5 p.m. Eastern show works as a live stream, that the 8 p.m. will also be live streams, but we'll do some tests while we're there, and let's hope it works because I want to start live streaming events to you guys. Carlos, I think she's lying by saying that everyone left on their own. They either left because they weren't getting paid or they left because they were treated like shit. So you can say you're not going to fire anyone and just not pay them or not book them. It's the same thing. But anyways, it really doesn't matter. I just was reminded of that because of Gangrel, and Lacey told me that because I was around during that time. Rumar says, did I hear that the networks weren't happy with WWE bringing Brock and Becky on SmackDown? They didn't bring them back on SmackDown. Maybe you mean they weren't happy that they didn't bring them back for their debuts, their re-debuts on SmackDown, rather than debuting them on the pay-per-view. That is possible. Carlos checking in from Chicago. Greece says Gangrel has one of the best entrances in history. By the way, I did post the match video for the Texas title that Blood Hunter still holds in the description between Gangrel and the Blood Hunter, where the Blood Hunter had to get about 30 stitches after that match, after Gangrel busted him open. Horn Dog, is CM Punk still straight edge? Don't know, don't care. But I do seem to recall he drank a beer in the ring with Austin once. Maybe I'm imagining that. Pat, if you're looking at the dates of the Great North Wrestling Show, it is this Saturday at 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. And if you have 8 p.m. tickets, you're welcome to use them at 5 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. because the 8 p.m. show is probably going to be sold out. The ringside is already sold out. And you can get tickets for both events at ticketweb.ca. You can try and get tickets for the 8 p.m. show at the door, but I can't promise you there will be any left. We are under COVID restrictions. Tucker, is Daniel Bryan joining AEW? Yes, he is. Horn Dog, does Gangrel get any residuals from Edge from using the Brood theme and Brood Bath? WWE probably owns the Brood theme, so it's their theme, and I don't know. He does have a podcast, Fanging and Banging. I'm sure he gets some residual checks from WWE. Mark, good guy here. He says he's talking about USA's frustrations with WWE debuting Lesnar and Lynch on a pay-per-view and not Raw or SmackDown. Yeah, I believe that's what he's talking about. I can understand that because these networks are paying WWE literally hundreds of millions a year, and they haven't been performing to, for instance, Fox expected them to average a 1 rating, other than the first episode, and maybe there's been 1 or 2 others over the past 2+ years that have made a 1 or more. They've been averaging in the 0.5s, 0.4, 0.5. So it's way less than what they expected. So I can understand if they had promoted Brock's return for SmackDown, for instance, on Fox, they would have had a ratings pop, just like CM Punk had a ratings pop for AEW Dynamite and Rampage. Raka tips me $2. Appreciate it. Chris, there is a Gangrel shoot interview on this channel, and I'll put the link up right now because it was a really good interview. Sorry, I'll look it up. It's one of my most popular interviews. Well, maybe some of the clips of it are very popular. The full thing has about 50,000. I'm typing it in for you guys now. But that was a really good interview that I did with Gangrel. It had great feedback. I like Gangrel personally. He's a good guy. There it is. I just posted it. Jeffrey says USA Network and Fox should absolutely have a say in the talent. They should. I mean, apparently Fox wanted WWE to bring CM Punk back. That's why they hired him for that Fox show that ended up being canceled, that news type WWE show that failed with CM Punk. But they wanted WWE to hire CM Punk back to get those ratings pop, at least the initial ratings pop. And WWE didn't do that. So it's highly unlikely, according to the reports I've read, that Fox is going to re-sign SmackDown because the ratings have not met expectations. And for instance, they wanted WWE to bring CM Punk back to boost the ratings, at least for the couple of debut episodes, and they didn't do that. Horn Dog, how is NXT still in business with low ratings? I don't think NXT has ever profited. WWE keeps NXT around because it's the development league. It's always operated in a loss, I believe. They aren't running house shows right now, which they were doing up until before the pandemic. They were running like small house shows in Florida to get talent experience. Some of them only had 100 or less fans, but they were designed to get the development talent experience. So right now, there isn't that much experience for these development talent. All they're doing is pretty much training, which is not the same as performing in front of the crowd. Carlos, I would expect Brian to debut soon. His debut is going to be imminent. Probably their Chicago weekend where they're doing like 3 tapings in Chicago for All Out, Rampage, and Dynamite. Either that or by the time they do that New York Stadium show at Arthur Ashe Stadium. We'll see in my Wrestling Observer review this week what Meltzer says about that. Mike talking about the Philippines. No idea really what you're talking about there. Mark brings up that NXT is developmental, and if they can film it and get some extra money from USA, great. I mean, yeah, for instance, when I was in Deep South for a while, WWE's developmental territory in Georgia, they only had local TV in this Atlanta market, which I don't think paid them anything. So to get whatever they're getting a year, it is in the millions for NXT from USA. Whether they will be renewed for that or not, it doesn't matter if they're operating in the red or not, because they're using it to train their talent that they want to be the next superstars. However, no one from NXT has been the next Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns from FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, certainly wasn't the next John Cena, and The Fiend was from FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling. He wasn't the next John Cena. He didn't even make it to Roman Reigns level, but those are the two biggest stars, I guess you could say, from FCW. From NXT, I don't know if you want to call Kevin Owens the biggest star from NXT, and he's certainly not a huge draw anywhere. You could say NXT's been a failure for creating new stars. Tucker says Logan Paul drew a higher rating than CM Punk. Yes, and yes, he has a big 14-year-old fan base. The Paul brothers are great heels. People can bash them all they want. They're multi-millionaires doing great pay-per-view buy rates. I think the Ben Askren boxing match and the Mayweather boxing matches were like in the top 3 or 4 pay-per-view buy rates of the past year. So people can hate on them all they want. They're great heels. They're making money. They're better heels than anyone in the WWE right now. Jeffrey thinks the territories could come back. I don't know. We will see. I think some territories could come back, but I just don't see it happening everywhere because people don't want to go to events as much these days. And there just isn't that much good talent. There's not that much great free agent talent out there because AEW and WWE have pretty much the best locked up under exclusive contracts. Even New Japan doesn't have that great talent right now. Their business is very bad. Ring of Honor, who has a lot of their talent, such as PCO, under exclusive contracts, is less popular than I can ever recall, with less buzz than ever. And they have talent locked up. Impact doesn't have their talent under exclusive deals, which, by the way, as I mentioned yesterday, Braun is hinting at, or Scott D'Amore is hinting that Braun is going to appear in Impact. Whether that means he's going to AEW and be used in Impact, like all these AEW guys are used in Impact, or is going to Impact to be used in AEW, like most of the roster seems to be used in AEW now. That remains to be seen. Nick says Logan Paul having a program with someone in WWE would really draw some good ratings. It depends if they could afford him. And he would want to do that because this guy's he's rolling in money, and he might want to focus on boxing right now that he's having a lot of success in, then go to wrestling. But who knows? Loves says, what about Raven? Well, why don't I plug this? Raven is coming back to the ECW arena September the 18th with a mystery follower on this huge show at the ECW arena. I think the first 4 rows are already sold out for this event. It is going to be live stream. At least one of the matches from this is going to appear on the Hannibal TV too. So looking forward to going down there and covering that event in Philadelphia. Matt Hardy is going to be on that show too. Patrick, Marty, Squirrel, or whatever the fuck his name is, midget wrestler, the Smart Marks loved. He had sex with a 16-year-old when he was 27, and that pretty much outed him from the business. So there's too many little wrestlers in the business that are boring to guys like me. He was overrated. So I'm glad he went the same way as Joey Ryan. Out of here. Have a good night. And please, if you're in the Toronto, Ottawa, Kingston, Smith Falls, or Brockville area, come out to this taping Saturday night in Kingston, centrally located. It will be the only 2 Great North Wrestling events of the year. And for everyone that's sick of hearing me plug this, Only a couple more days. See you all there.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the subscribe button to not miss any of our latest shoot interviews, match videos, or news updates. Support us on patreon.com for $1.99 a month to watch our full shoot interviews,